back. This is the homeschool dev. I am going through a housing issue right now. My family and I, and it's a terrible thing to be experiencing, especially this time of year. But I am resilient and I will not stop pleading my case. Like I said, 2013, I was in a situation in what was called the Shelter Plus program in Sandoval County. And I was in the housing voucher program, and that housing voucher program displaced my family and I. And at the time, the director was also my counselor, a very close friend of mine. I thought was a very close friend of mine. She loved my children, and actually, she was an amazing counselor up until the very end of my experience with the Shelter Plus program. I mean, yeah, the Shelter Plus program, but dealing with the Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico, I have a deep rooted thing for non-compliance when it comes to administering service to those that are in need and individuals capitalizing off of those individuals, those protected classes. My first experience in homelessness was from a New Mexico voucher program that caused my family and I to be homeless for 2 years. It took me 2 years to get back on my feet until I was able to find the Shelter Plus, Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico. The Shelter Plus program wasn't in alignment with the strategic plan back in 2013, and Supportive Housing Coalition is not in alignment with the strategic plan for supportive housing in New Mexico either. I met with Laura Chavez because I was going to file a federal complaint because of the lack of services that I was receiving from Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico. The audio and all of the videos that I have published, that meeting, that audio was strictly about me and Laura sitting down at the table to negotiate, or I wanted to listen to her to see how she was going to fix the issues that were compounding issues dealing with her agency. She spilled her heart out to me and told me everything that she really didn't want me to hear, not expecting that I was recording her. So, as I stated many times before, I represent my family and I represent and all the homeless who are housed and unhoused throughout the state of New Mexico because I consider myself an authority in this situation. Let's continue. That investigation in 2013 started with a complaint from me. And here, I keep all my documents. I do, I really do. I'm a hoarder of all old paperwork that were, especially if they were controversial. So, excuse me. It's the Sandoval County's let's do this. Sandoval County Shelter Plus program, right? And sorry. Oh gosh. Sorry about that. But bear with me. My counselor name. Yes, I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put you. I have to put you on. Linda Simon. She is the whistleblower, or what was the whistleblower for a very big case here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, dealing with Carrie Barlow, Carrie Barlow, and Sunlail Realty. Carrie Barlow and Sunlail Realty. Sunlail Realty is shut down. The Shelter Plus program exists no more, and it is now called the Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico. And hearing that and learning that hurts my heart. It really it, it really hurts my heart to hear that, especially the way that this company is being ran right now. But back to Carrie and Sunland Realty. One of the reasons why the penalties were so hard for the Shelter Plus program is because of things like this. Now, this is a breach of my rental contract and it has several charges on it. But this charge right here in particular, $23 for June rent. I am being penalized for that twice. But look at the late fees. The late fees are $100 a piece. $100 a piece. And there are several other fees on here as well. But at the time, Linda Simon was my counselor, and once Sunland Realty, before Sunland Realty started the eviction process, right before it, I went to Linda Simon for help and explained to her my situation. And any other time she would go out of her way to help my family and I, because they have the flexibility in these programs to adjust to every individual family situation. It is not a cookie cutter type of program that I'm in. It is flexible to every individual's family situation. So she worked with me every time I went to her with her for a financial hardship. She would make adjustments. But once Sunlaw Realty started the eviction process, I asked Linda Simon for all of our records, my record file, and she gave them to me. So I'm not really saying that Linda is at fault or anything. Don't don't get me wrong here. I'm saying she was cooperating. I am juxtaposing the two situations that um, I experienced. She gave me the file. I asked for my files from Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico. They send me you have to sign for it. But anyway, moving forward, Linda Simon gave me the file. And I never paid attention, just like any other individual in the program. voucher programs, housing voucher programs, they won't read the documentation. So I read this rental adjustment sheet, and it has the rental 30% and all those calculations on there. I lived in a Rio Rancho in Enchanted Hills on Bismarck Hill Way. 2-car garage, 3-bedroom, beautiful backyard overlooking the East Mountains. Beautiful. And I kept the place in tip top condition. So I went to Linda Simon and got my files. And what I found out was that I was supposed to be getting uh, monies for things that the Shelter Plus program were supposed to be helping me pay in the house. Like I think it was water, and there's some I think utilities that they are supposed to like give you money for, right? And so I started doing the calculations, and I was in that home for 2 years. And the eviction came down, and I kind of put that information that I found on the back burner. And we went to court. Linda Simon did not approach Sunland Realty about this, to my knowledge, and I have no record for it. No one showed up from La Buena Vita, the Shelter Plus program, on my behalf when I went to magistrate court, and the judge was vicious. And so, shortly after court, my sons and I were evicted. We stayed. We immediately transferred to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I stayed at Joy Junction. Joy Junction is one of the worst places for homeless people to go to, especially with a male with children. See, and a lot of agencies in Albuquerque, they won't even house you, a male with their children. They would try to separate you from your children if you're in a homeless situation because they may have one men's shelter. You should have more shelters for men. Men that experience domestic violence. Men get custody or what appears to be custody of their children because they were in situations where they were neglected. And so I report all the information that I do, and I stand tall doing so because I have experience, and I know that this is maybe, not good news for a lot of people here in the state of New Mexico, but at this time, this needs to be told. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than some uh, guy that's in the Shelter Plus program. Shelter Plus. I mean, the Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico's housing voucher program, which the city of Codom, New Mexico, has violated the tenants unit, and now they're being evicted. Not evicted, but all contracts are terminated. The term as of 1/31/24. That's with TNC Management and also Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico. And it's it has hurts my family and I, especially my two oldest sons, because the two youngest sons, the 11-year old and the soon to be 7-year old, were not born then. And so my older two sons are having to relive something that I can tell that they are not looking forward to, living that type of lifestyle. But with that being said, I just wanted to let everyone know when I arranged that meeting to meet with Laura Chavez, it was because I had already prepared a document and was prepared to file a federal complaint against Supportive Housing Coalition of New Mexico. She said that she would fix everything and made all these promises, as you hear in the audio, but it comes out the whole time she was planning to terminate my voucher, the entire time. That's my truth. That is the Smiths family truth. And if you don't like it, you know what? We really don't care.